Hello, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to the final preview episode for today. And I'm not going to do Manchester City, Newcastle, or Liverpool, West Brom. We're not doing those two. I think those are straight away gimmies. I think you don't need to be an expert to predict the result for that. It's going to be quite a comfortable win for Manchester City. It's going to be a very, very comfortable win for Liverpool. You can pretty much give away those. I think City will beat Newcastle 3-0. I think Liverpool will win 5-0 against West Brom. And those are my predictions. I'm not going to go into deep analysis of that, but those are just my predictions. I think those are gimme games at this point for those two teams. They're going to win them, so I don't want to do. So you don't need a tactical expert to predict what's going to happen in those games. But the interesting, intriguing game for Sunday is Wolves against Tottenham. I think in past season that this would be an unremarkable fixture in some ways, but I think for this season it's very interesting because Wolves are coming into a bit of form. They just beat Chelsea. They played very well in the last couple of weeks, and you've got Tottenham who's starting at that really good season, starting to sort of slide down the table a little bit of a momentum that has stalled. So this game is going to be critical from that perspective. Wolves are in actually pretty good form, and they've actually recovered quite well from the absence of Raul Jimenez. They've done very well, and you've got in Pedro Neto, Daniel Pudence, and Adama Traore. They probably are the fastest front three in the Premier League. I don't know many Premier League teams that have a faster front three than those three. They've got really, really fast and dynamic front three, and it's going to be and so that is so that's where they build their success on that. I think Fabio Silva has been good, but I think Fabio Silva at this moment is still too young, too raw to be trusted in these sort of games. So I don't think he will start. I don't think he should start. But that front three is deadly, and then they've got Joao Moutinho, who just looks class. I mean, Joao Moutinho is someone who's, I think he's 34, 35. He's been around forever. He feels like he's 40 years old. Because you've been talking about Joao Moutinho as this player for so long. Never got that big move to a big club, and in his career he never really got that recognition that he deserved. But what a class player he is. And then you've got Ruben Neves, who's also been brilliant this season. They've got a solid back two as well. And Conor Cody, aside from helping Liverpool win the game that he did, I think he's been pretty solid. And it's been well supported by some of the other players around him. I know there's a lot of consternation around some of the Portuguese players, some of Mendes client players, as they're known. But I think by and large, I think Wolves have a very compact, very organized defense. You kind of know what you get from Wolves. You've got a very strong, solid base defensively, and then they've got these dynamic attackers that can go forward and attack. I forgot about Leander Dendoncker. Dendoncker has also been really, someone who's really good. He links defense and attack really well. So they've got good parts. They've got very good parts, and the sum of those parts have functioned really well together. And as long as they keep doing that, I think Wolves, the successfully transition from a back three to a back four as well. So that's been good, and that's shows evolution, shows adaptation, which is awesome for them as a team. And they're going to be a tough match for Liverpool for Spurs in this game. It's going to be a very, very tough game for them. This one's not going to be an easy one. But from Spurs' point of view, I think that's the key for us to look at is what are Spurs going to do. Now, there's a lot of issues in talk around Spurs. I think I tweeted this last week after the last game. I said it as well. I feel like Mourinho is starting to fall into his old traps again. They started the season. A lot of people say he started the season very offensively attacking. I think they got a little bit lucky because they had this amazing 3-goal burst against West Ham right at the start of the game. So they looked with it. They had this very glossy look to the scoreline. They actually, United, they self-imploded a little bit. The first 2 goals were both schoolboy errors that United did. That when Maguire decided to stop defending for that day, he probably decided to take a break from defending that day, and then they got the red card, and then United just capitulated and lost 6-1. So that kind of gave them a little bit. So those 9 goals kind of gave them a little bit of a false, position of being an attacking team. They have not been, or at least from when I've been watching them for the last 3 or 4 games or 5 games, they haven't been dynamic attacking wise. They haven't been offensively, front foot. What they have done very well is they have been able to stay compact, defend, and then just break forward and use Son's pace, Son's clinicality, and Kane's vision and his clinical finishing to be able to win games. But if you look at the Chelsea game, if you look at the Crystal Palace game, if you look at the game that they had against Leicester, well, we're now starting to see certain clear patterns that are emerging, and that's that it's becoming more and more park the bus, it's becoming more and more drop deep, and then like a spring, you coil in and you break out. And what the issue with that for Spurs is, if you don't win those games, if you don't win games playing that way, it starts to wear the players out, because for someone like Kane or someone like Son, having to just keep having to play as a wing back, almost a glorified wing back, and then suddenly, keep going forward, it affects you. It affects you mentally, it affects you physically. You can't always keep doing that. It's the same for Kane. And a lot of people talk about Kane's vision and his passing. I feel a lot of that is because he's defending so deep that, he doesn't have the pace to run up and down the pitch that quickly. So, it's almost like he's almost playing as a quarterback because he doesn't have the pace to be the striker. So he's just sort of been like, what, this is the best I can do is I can go to the to defend my own corner, and then if I come out, I'm just going to give it to Son and let Son score. I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure it's more nuanced than that, but it just feels that way, that Spurs are becoming more and more and more and more defensive, and something has to change. Something needs to change. I think for this game, the issue though is that Wolves are very good on the counter. They've got three very fast players. So if you go at offensive, you risk leaving gaps behind. So I feel like Spurs are probably going to do more of the same. They're probably going to go again defensive. They're going to try to stay compact in their shape, and they're going to try to protect that defense and protect themselves against that threat of Prudence, Traore, and Neto. So it's just I can see this being a very very cagey game in that sense, because I feel Wolves are not going to try and break a team down. They never do that. They don't have the ability to break a team down, and I think Spurs would probably be reluctant to commit too many men forward. So it would probably be up to try to defend and then maybe leave it to Kane and Son to see if they can do something. And if they can't, if they lose that game, then you start to then the questions might start to be asked about Mourinho, about the players being whether they're suited to that. But I mean, other than that, I think the team pretty much picks itself. The only question would be, is it going to be Bergwijn or he started Lo Celso in the last game. I think Bergwijn will start this one. I wouldn't be surprised if he drops Ndombele and Lo Celso for maybe a little bit more conservative midfielder. Maybe Winks. I don't know if Winks is available. Maybe Winks. Maybe somebody else. I just feel like he probably might want a little bit more insurance policy, because Mourinho's answer to things is you just get more insurance policy rather than try to be more attacking. So he might do that, but I don't think so. I think he probably start with, the question is whether he starts with Lo Celso or Ndombele. I think he might go with Lo Celso for this game. Just because Lo Celso, I think, gives him that little bit more. I don't know what Lo Celso's injury status is even, because I just probably need to look at that as well. Let's do a quick look at Lo Celso, his injury status. Yeah, so he's not available. Lo Celso's not even available, so I think it'll probably be Ndombele who is going to start against Wolves. I think so. It's going to be it's tough. I mean, isn't it? Yeah. So he's just said that he's fit. So yeah, it's probably going to be Ndombele who's going to start against Wolves. So that'll be interesting. I think Ndombele does provide a little bit of physicality, a little bit more technical ability, but I think his directive will also be the same. Will be to try and defend and stay in shape. The issue though, and a lot of controversy on Dele Alli and what happened in the game against Stoke, where he kind of criticized him. And you just feel with Dele Alli, I think it's a waiting game now for him to the countdown has begun for him to leave Spurs. I think whether he does it in Jan, whether he does it in the summer, I think he will leave, and I think it's good for him. It's good for his career. Regardless of what Mourinho made, the comments that Mourinho made, I do feel that his time has been coming up. I don't think he's been. I think since the World Cup, he's really regressed. When even at the World Cup, he didn't have the best of World Cups, but he was part of that team that was getting to the, got to the semi-final, was playing very well, and you really hope he would kick on. It's funny how the two midfielders in that team was Dele Alli and Jesse Lingard, and you had high hopes. I had high hopes for Jesse Lingard of that tournament because I thought he was very very good in the role that he was playing, and I thought if he keeps this up, and I said this as well, that the Facebook post is there. Somebody wants to look it up, it's there. But I said that it's on my personal post, not on the page. But I had said that if Lingard kept the trajectory that he was on, where in 2014 he was winning the FA Cup final and wasn't even in the England squad, anywhere near the England squad, he was not even a regular starter for Manchester United at that point. From there, at the end of 2014, within 2 years, he was a regular starter for England and for Manchester United. He was playing a World Cup semi-final. I thought if he keeps up this trajectory, he could very well be one of the finest playmakers that England ever produced, because he has a lot of technical ability. I think his technical ability is very underrated. He's got very good feet. He's got very good range. He's very dynamic with his passing, or he was at least. But since that World Cup, he's kind of regressed a lot. And Dele Alli has not regressed as much, but he's regressed as well. I think and again, it could just be a case of people, sometimes getting the hype, getting the attention, getting too much too soon, and he's kind of fallen behind a little bit. But I mean, it's sad to see, but I think the countdown is dropping. I don't think he will play a part in this game. I don't think you could have him play a part in this game after everything that has been said. So I'd expect him not to play this one. I would expect him that maybe in January he's probably going to be thinking, maybe I need to leave. I don't know where he's going to go, but I think he'll be thinking, yeah, maybe I need to leave and resurrect my career somewhere else. But I mean, coming to this game, it's a crunch time for Mourinho. I think a lot will depend on the tactics that he plays. If he plays park the bus, which he probably will, and if he loses or doesn't win or draws, I think questions will start to be asked. I think he'll look at a draw as a good result. I'm sure he will think that draw is a great result against Wolves, considering that they are playing away from home and the Wolves are very very good on the counter. So he will probably look at that as a good result. I don't know as a fan if you would look at that as a good result. I'm not a Tottenham fan, so I don't know. Um, but a loss would definitely hurt Spurs a lot, particularly in the season that promised so much. On the flip side, though, I think, as I said, if Spurs are going to win the Europa League, they've got to be. They probably will think that if they're not in title contention by that point, I think Mourinho will start focusing on the Europa League to try and win that. I think that's probably what's going to happen, and that might be where focus switch. So maybe for Spurs fans, maybe not such a bad thing if they focus. They do have a team that can win the Europa League. To be honest, they probably are the favorites to win the Europa League at this point. So it's not such a bad thing, I think, overall, if that happens. But we shall see. There's still quite some ways away from February. But this game is going to be critical. It's going to be interesting. Just to see, if only just to see what Mourinho does and can he adapt and can he change. But my prediction, it's hard to say. Conventional logic suggests that it's going to be a draw. But I just feel like Mourinho is going to pull it up. I think he's going to win this one. I think it's going to be 1-0, 1-0 to Spurs. I think it's that sort of game, isn't it? It's a one goal game. You get that goal, whoever gets that goal, that first goal, is probably going to go on and win it, because that's going to be the key. Really, is that who's going to be brave enough to get that first goal, who's going to be thinking about getting that first goal. Because if Spurs get that first goal, they've got the team then to defend and see it out. And on the other hand, if Wolves get that first goal, they have the team as well to see it out. So you wonder if Spurs can break them down, if the other team can break them down if they have to. So it's probably going to be all about getting that first goal and how adventurous they are and getting it, and how how they get it. I mean, Leicester were gifted a goal by Spurs, so I'm sure we'll be talking about that in this pre-match conference. But yeah, I think Spurs will win it. I think it's going to be 1-0 to Spurs. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be nice to see, but it might just get the job done. So that's my prediction. But anyway, let me know in the comments. What do you think? What do you think the score is going to be? What do you think that the final tally is going to be? What do you think Mourinho should do, or Nuno should do in terms of team tactics and setup? But really, always excited to hear that, and it's always great to hear different opinions, because we all have different opinions. So let me know what you think. And remember to smash a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new on YouTube. It really helps me in growing this channel and making sure that I keep producing good content or great content for you. So please show your support by subscribing. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a good day or night, whatever time you're watching this. If you're still celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas to all of you. And, hope your day goes well. Hope you've had a lot of good time with your friends and family. I know it's not the best Christmas this year with everything that's been going on, but, just look at it, let's just look at it as a precursor to great things ahead for next year. That's really all we can do. So enjoy your Christmas, and hope you have a good weekend watching games, and hope your team, all of your teams do well. Aside from if you're a Leicester fan, I wouldn't want Leicester to do well, but but no, hopefully everybody has a good weekend as they're watching the games. But take care, have a good night or day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.